All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello. Good morning.
You owe me a Coke, right? All right, so today we're going to talk about mostly rental. I want to kind of talk a little bit about rental because I've been seeing some interesting takes out there lately, such as I'm just going to say this one. I think it was even yesterday, or it was this week at least, that someone said that the rental model is bad for the industry and is destroying everything.
Okay.
And I thought, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, okay, I don't think you're doing the things you need to be doing as a business owner, if that's what you're saying. But
yeah.
but
Everybody can thrive if you know how to run a business.
yeah, and that's the thing. And part of what I want to break down today for people is all the hidden costs and all the sort of predatory practices and all the things out there that I believe are setting renters up to be unsuccessful because maybe the rental salon owners are looking for the quick buck, not a solid business. And I like to get into that a little bit. But first,
Opening takes.
So
you can go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. If you need an opening take, you can talk about what we talked about last night when you got home. It had to do with your apprentice. I'm just trying to help you out here.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I actually put it in my notes for me to talk about it at some point. But all right. So here's my opening take. Sometimes I bring an idea to Jen, and she will unequivocally shoot it down. Like she absolutely leaves no doubt that this is not what she wants to do. This is not what she thinks is good for the business. You're laughing at me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's a good idea. And I know that now I've planted a seed. And Jen and I are different because there are other husband-wife business owners, partners. I get it. But I don't see it a ton. So I know how Jen is. So I'll plant these seeds. And that's what's important, right? I talked a lot recently about the nudges in your business and how you have to like nudge things to gradually get them where you want them to be. I could go to Jen with an idea and be like, this is what we're doing and try to strong arm her. But when we first sat down together to build Hello, she said, please don't do that to me. And I was like, totally respect that. Because I have been known to just push for what I want in the past. All right. So I plant this seed, and what I'm really doing is I'm getting my business owner or my business partner to think. That's all. She's thinking. It's not to agree with me. It's not to prove I'm right. It's not to strong arm her, like I said a second ago. It's just to get her to think. Often, she comes back later out of nowhere, right? This usually comes out of left field. I have no idea. I don't even always remember what I had said to her. And she'll come back, all right, if we're going to make this change, then I think it should look like this. So let's research this. And now it's her idea too, because I planted that seed. And if you're out there working with a business owner, I keep saying that, gosh. If you're out there working with a business partner and you guys disagree on stuff, plant seeds. Just throw ideas out there. It's okay, even if it sounds stupid at first. If you think it adds value somewhere, and sometimes, so Jen recently, we were looking to make a change. I said, hey, I think we should look into this. And a couple weeks later, maybe, Jen said, all right, well, you do the research if we're going to make this change. I did the research and turns out we're not going to make the change. But it was important to have the conversation because if you're not having those conversations, you're not moving, you're not progressing, you're not moving anything forward in your business. That is my opening take.
True story. That was great.
Thanks.
Kind of actually, I was paying attention because I was like, where is this going?
Okay. What you get?
So I guess I could celebrate Madison. That's my apprentice. I don't even know how many I have now, but my third at Hello. So as we've talked before, an apprenticeship at Hello we are the school. It's a 3,000-hour program through the state of New Hampshire. And at the end, you can take your tests just like everyone else who went to hair school, and you can be licensed. But they're at school at Hello. It is a program that I customize to each individual. No one apprenticeship looks anything like the other one. It is literally for each person. My goal when we opened Hello with my apprenticeships was at 1,500 hours, which is what you need in New Hampshire school to get out of cosmetology school and to take your state boards. And with an apprenticeship at 1,500 hours, the apprentice is now allowed to work in the salon without me there. So she can now work on clients even if I'm not in the building. Prior to that, if I'm not in the building, she can't touch anyone, anything, not happening. That's the state rule. So coming into this apprenticeship or into Hello with apprenticeships at 1,500 hours, I'm always hoping that the apprentice is ready to go or we're close to ready to go, because it would be if she went to hair school and she'd be progressing. Each one is different. My first one, I think we were a little over that. My second, it was much longer. And with Madison, we're at 1,500 hours, finished last month, and she is good to go. Credit to her. She puts in the work. She shows up every day. She goes above and beyond. She takes constructive criticism. She uses every single staff member in the building to get better. So I almost now look at this program, and she's grown so much so fast, not just because of me. It's the team that has helped build her up, and she is ready to go. And Todd and I feel by the end of this apprenticeship, she will price-wise be above and beyond probably a good majority of people that have been out of hair school for a long time. And she's killing it. So cheers to Madison.
You can talk about numbers if you want. Or you don't have to.
I mean, you could talk about numbers if you want, because you had them probably written down. I know we were throwing stuff around last night.
I just talked about our haircut price last night. That was the only number that I was talking about right now. If you want to share
so
that.
we hope
because you've done it before with an apprentice. And
so her haircut. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so 2 apprentices ago, your apprentice was I don't know if it was at the 1,500 hour mark, but it was before she basically got a price increase before she was licensed, is
Correct.
what happened. Because she had a lot of bookings. There was demand for Ava.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so we start people at $45. You start to build a clientele, to build a clientele fairly quickly. A $45 price point haircut does that. That's what we've come up with. Now, you can push that a little bit here and there and make some tweaks to it. But with our approach, with our model, that builds people generally in like 6 months to 18 months, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
So Ava had moved up to that $50 mark because she was worth it, and she was already bringing clients in and seeing repeat clients before she was even licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying that Madison's probably going to do the same thing.
She definitely will. Yeah.
Yeah. So she'll probably get a price increase before she's licensed through the state.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying this to like gloat or anything like that. We're just saying this so that people understand what's possible. I see people all the time complaining about other people's prices. How dare they charge this or whatever? Look, businesses need to make money. Hair pros need to make money, and they can accomplish that together. They work together. So,
and if there's a demand, you're there.
Correct. So I remember that we had someone that doesn't work for us anymore, but I think she had like 5 years of experience. Yes. And she didn't have any clients. So she came to us. She didn't have a clientele. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, I think I should raise my prices. And I said, I don't think you should, because you don't have a clientele. Why would you raise your price? Like, how is that going to help you?
0% of 0 is still 0.
Right. So, and she said, well, it feels gross to me that an apprentice charges more than I do. And I said, she has a demand. She has a clientele. 1.
And her skill set was better.
2, don't compare yourself to other people. That's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. And this hair pro had, like you said, Jen, just very little to offer, really. And I think too many people want to sit around and think that time is what gets you rewarded
Yeah, no.
when it's not. That's complacency. And the truth is that we reward merit. So the better work you do, not necessarily the skill side of things, but the more effort you put in, the faster you're going to see the outcome. It's really just as simple as that. And we've proven that model, or our model, and the apprenticeship model works.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're out there being like an apprentice charges $50 for a haircut, yeah, hell yeah, and is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is like wrong to you, you should probably reframe your mindset and ask some different questions like, well, what does your apprenticeship program look like so that I can replicate that because I want that to help my business?
Right.
That's a better question than being insulted over what someone else charges.
Yeah. Just change your mindset. How do I get there? How do I do that?
Yeah. So let's talk about some rental situations. Rental, whether you're talking about renting a chair or a suite, I'm just going to say rental. I'm probably going to go back and forth between both, to be honest with you, because that's what I do. That does not hurt the industry. That expands the industry. That offers people that want to be left alone the ability to do so. And there are people that are going to thrive in that situation. You rented for years, right?
Yes.
And
it was great.
Yeah, it was great. I think really what rental versus commission breaks down to is more of, it's not the freedom and all that stuff. It's do you want to be left alone or do you want to be guided?
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
That's really kind of what it breaks down to. You can talk about commissions. Well, I don't want to make commission. You still should be paying yourself a rate of your money that you take in. So there's still a commission split when you're a booth renter.
Correct.
And if you're not looking at it that way, you're looking at it wrong and you're going to get screwed on taxes or something somewhere at some point.
You're also not running it as a business.
Right. Correct. So we often see these marketing pitches of like, you get to keep all your money. That's predatory.
False.
You do not get to keep all of your money. And we'll run through. I have a list of stuff of sort of costs that people don't think about when they go out on their own to rent. And we can run through that in a second. I think, where was I going? What was I saying, Jen?
You were talking about numbers. I was thinking about that you're going to get to the numbers.
What numbers? Oh, I was talking about paying yourself as a percentage. Yeah. So, and then I mentioned the predatory, you get to keep all your money. The other thing I see I've been seeing this trend, Jen, of people that are like, I'm trying to get renters directly out of school.
Yeah.
That is really setting people up for failure.
I absolutely agree.
These hair pros coming out of school, they can't even do hair very well.
Correct.
Now you want them to focus on learning how to run a bit. How are they going to run a business? And if you're like, well, I'll guide them, I'll help. That's not rental. That's the opposite of rental.
Coming out of school, you need so much help, which is normal. Like you learned basics and you learned how to pass the test, and hopefully you did. And at this point now, it's up to you on how you want to build your foundation and your skill set. So to go to rent and run a business, there's no way you can work on getting better at doing hair because now you got to work on running a business. Those things are not the same. I would highly advise somebody coming out of school to work on your skill set of hair, if that's what you want to do. And that should be your focus for a while. Otherwise, you will be very overwhelmed or just feel defeated. But I think to what you're saying, I think a lot of people probably, and if I'm getting ahead of myself, I can pause, went into suites. They got bored. They were by themselves. They got lonely. I've talked to a lot of these people. They thought it was what they wanted. And then they were like, this is awful. So then they're like, well, I want to be around people again, but I don't want to go back to a commission salon. So then like, I'll open a rental salon. And I think there was a time where rental was flooding the market and it's slowing down now because of all different things. And they need to find people to fill their rental salons because they took on this business and now they're understanding that they need to find people And unfortunately, if you prey on people that don't know better and you make them believe that this will be good for them, someone coming out of school might actually be like, oh my God, I could totally do this before they even understand what they're signing on for.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, I had loneliness and lack of inspiration in my notes. And that goes especially for the younger hair pros because they need the mentoring, they need the help, they need the guidance, they need the
Yes.
technical skills to develop even further. You're not coming out of school comfortable. We've had people quit our salon because, and this is probably a mistake on our part. We've definitely talked about it, but we've had people quit because they come out of school. We see talent in them,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like a deer in headlights and they're just stuck.
They want to hide behind assisting. And we're
Right.
like,
And they wanna
you can't
assist
hide.
for
We
yeah,
push that. Well, you assist for a little bit, but we're going to get you going. We're going to get you working with people. We're going to get you
hands
moving
on,
ahead. Yeah. And there are some, we've had a few that couldn't handle them.
which is totally fine.
Yes.
I think this conversation will help, or I think this conversation needs to happen more than just us on this podcast. And I think it will help rental salons understand some of the mistakes that they've made along the way. I also think there's a huge opportunity for commission salons to look at this and say, so in our area, I would say that renting is sort of plateauing. It's never going to go away. We're not, we've said this a million times, not going to go away. It shouldn't go away. It's an excellent. It's an excellent opportunity for
the right person.
people that are more, I would say, mature and understand at least the basics of business. If you don't understand the basics of business, you shouldn't probably be opening a business. You should learn a little bit of business first and then go. I've seen like some large rental suite buildings that they don't have very many renters in there.
Right. Which
And
just goes to show that it is slowing down in our area.
yeah, and there are some places that are like, we'll give you $1,000, we'll give you months free, we'll give you this. So if rental in our area was thriving like people believe it is, and it's damaging the industry and it's crippling commission salons, then why does that exist? Why are there these places that are begging people to come in? Imagine offering free rent. Like, you're setting people up for failure because they think now that they can afford this.
Right.
And
then
you're
once they have to
offering
pay
them money.
rent, they realize they're at negative.
Right. And I'm guessing there's contracts any intelligently run business would have some sort of lease, sublease, whatever in their agreement. So
are you going to touch on it? Because I think this is important.
and just touch on it.
Well, if you had talked about probably a minute ago, you need some basic business skills. And can we talk about what some basic business skills would look like?
Yeah. So your first and foremost, you need a business plan. And that is going to stem from your foundation. So your mission, your vision, and your core values. You've got to have that stuff lined up. You need to understand a P&L, because even though you're running at a small, you're a single chair, you're running by yourself, you still need to understand how your money's coming in and going out, or you're not going to have any money.
Right.
And we've seen that.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to understand taxes, but you probably need an accountant.
Correct.
I see a lot of people that are like, why would you pay for this? And that's another basic mistake. So if you're somebody out there that's like, why would I pay for this? That's a mistake. Why would I pay for insurance? Why would I pay for software? Why would I pay for whatever, an accountant? Why would I pay to talk to a lawyer? In case you ever need those things. That's why. So if you don't have something like insurance, that's wild to me, because if something happens, you're going to be responsible and you could be out. Like, you're going to lose your business,
right?
Your quote unquote chair, I think that's where I would start for sure.
Think too, if you're opening up where you have rental chairs, you should have a playbook, because those people that are renting from you need to understand what that looks like.
Were you talking about for owners? I thought
I'm talking both. I think it doesn't matter in that sense. I think that works for everybody, right? I think the big piece there is marketing,
because
Yeah.
I see people constantly, how do you find renters? How do you find renters? I can't find renters. And then when they do, it's, I found these renters. They're terrible. They don't take out the trash. They're supposed to. It's in their agreement. They leave the lights on, all this stuff. And it's like, look, man, what is your mission and vision? Like, who are you attracting? How
Mhm.
are you? You're supposed to curate a group of like-minded people, people that buy into, even if you have a rental salon, it's still fine for you to have a mission and a vision. This isn't a free-for-all.
Right.
A lot of people get that part wrong too. And they start dangling all these things in front of potential renters because they're panicking. They don't know how to attract people. So they say you can have 24/7 access. You want to do hair on Christmas, blah, blah, blah. So just because you rent doesn't mean you even get a key to the building. You have to operate within the business's hours. Like, for example, we don't rent, but if we did, our building has strict operating hours. We're only allowed to operate from 6 to 9, 6 to 10, whatever it is,
Mhm.
something like that. So I can't offer 24/7 access
Right.
because I will get in trouble for
Our
breaking my
lease does
lease.
not allow that.
Right. So you would have to check on all that stuff. You probably don't know how to read a lease agreement, so you probably need a lawyer for that.
Mhm.
But back to the marketing thing, you need to tell your story. Why would people want to be around you? And it's not because, we offer software and we offer towel service and we offer this, all the free stuff. That's what's eating into your profits. That's why you're panicking. And that's why you can't find anybody, because the rental situation in the industry did that to themselves.
Mhm.
Instead of figuring out how to sort of maybe coach people into learning business, which is what you should do, that's cool. I don't know why people don't do that. But instead of doing that, they just tried to hit them with all sorts of amenities.
Right.
We'll do your laundry for you. We'll give you a key card access. We'll provide all the snacks and drinks. We'll provide you with a cart to put all your stuff. We'll do this. We provide the cleaning. We'll provide
Which
the software. And
if
it's
you
wild because
yeah.
when you add all that stuff up, you probably haven't priced your rent high enough because you're trying to attract people. And now
Yes.
you're just giving away the farm.
And I think if you're trying to attract busy stylists that are professional and have a clientele, I would even go to say, like for me, those things wouldn't be important to me. Cleanliness would be, but I'm busy enough. I don't need to worry about all your fluff and buff stuff. But somebody who's not that busy, you're attracting them with those amenities. Like that's what it is. I'm looking at how much do I have to pay you and what does my workspace look like and how do I clean this place and does that all meet my standards? I don't need your free stuff.
For sure. And we're definitely going to see I've talked to a few people that predicted this. I talked to a guy about 6 years ago, and he said within 5 to 10 years, this was a COO of I don't want to name drop the company because I just don't want to, but it was a very popular unicorn hair company
Yes.
COO that I spoke to about 6 years ago. And he said his prediction was within 5 to 10 years, you were going to see a slowdown and then a swing back towards commission salons becoming more popular than rental.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked into it, I couldn't help but agree
Yeah.
because what happened was commission salons were run so poorly because nobody wanted to change or innovate or
Right.
move into 1995, let alone 2025. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
That's the
They did it
truth.
to themselves.
Yes. Commission salons became ultra poorly run.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to control everything. You've got to work Saturdays. You're not having days off,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. And so the rental model came along and said, we can fix that. And good on them.
Yeah.
And then what happened was the rental salons all started opening up and people would just kind of hop, right? So you see a bunch of people go to whatever popular new booth rental salon that opened in your town, right? And anybody listening can see this. Everybody migrates there. Not everybody, but it fills up. And then in like 2 years, the buzz sort of wears off and a new place opens and that place is shinier. So we'll all move there. And that's what happens. And then because that happened, people that don't understand business and how to market their business and position themselves strategically said, we got to start offering marketing. We got to start offering software for everybody. We got to do towel service. We've got to expand our hours. We've got to do all these things. And it was eating into their profits. And now they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have half empty rental salons, and that's not doing anybody any good.
Right. And they're struggling.
And so there's going to be a swing back towards commission. But I think what's going to happen first is you're going to see like a thinning of the herd. Because how many salons have we watched close over the last like 2 weeks? Dozens
Yeah.
on Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Closing my salon, trying to sell my salon, hate my salon. It's just constant. So what I think is you're going to see a lot of commission salons close down. And I don't want that to happen, but I do think it's going to be good for everybody, unfortunately.
Because the rebirth should be
And
better.
then, correct. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have commission salons that are going to go, let's not make those same mistakes again. Let's give people what they want. Let's talk to these quote unquote younger generations as human beings and not as a pain in the ass. Not as they don't want to do anything. They don't want to hand out business cards in the mall. Of course they don't, Susie. Nobody wants to go to the mall and hand out
No one
freaking
should
business
even have
cards.
business cards.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. This is not 1987 Wall Street.
What worked then is not going to work now. What works now is not going to work either next year or the year after. You're always going to have to evolve.
Exactly. And it's not just
constant.
Yes, correct. It's not just once, I was going to say. So let's talk about some of the hidden sort of costs.
I love this. I think it's really, hopefully really eye-opening for some people.
Yeah. And I think it's important to talk about this because a lot of people are like, well, I'll make so much more money. You might make more money if you're smart. You might make more money. I put might in quotes because we know people that have gone out on their own and they make less money than they would make at a good run commission salon because they don't push themselves. They don't challenge themselves. They aren't educating themselves. They aren't
and they're afraid to raise their prices.
Yeah. They're lowering prices in a lot of circumstances. And that becomes a race to the bottom. And you're not marketing. So you're not constantly gaining new clients. So when a client leaves, you're not replacing that client with a higher value client. But the reason why you can make more money is because you're doing more work. You're the one now that's doing the bookkeeping.
All the jobs.
You're the one that's doing the marketing. You're the one that's replying to all the DMs, all the emails, all the stuff that comes in. You're the one that's responsible for the phone calls. And I probably just said that twice. I feel like I said that twice. But you should be making more money because you should be getting paid for your time. So if you go from working 15 to 20 hours in a commission salon, because let's be realistic here, you go to working 50 hours for yourself, 80 hours for yourself. Yeah, you should be making more money.
And the reason why sometimes you're not making more money is because you didn't account for the price of the software, the price of the accountant you need to hire, the price of the lawyer you need to hire, the credit card fees that you're now absorbing.
Yeah, I have the list. I'm just scrolling through my notes. All right, so these aren't going to apply to everybody. I have a huge list here, and some of them will. I would say most of them will for anybody that's trying to actually run a business. But a lot of people are like probably going to think they can ignore a lot of this stuff. So you've got your rent. So you don't get to keep all your money. There's one chunk gone, right?
Yes.
You likely, if the people know how to run an actual business, you likely have a security deposit that you're going to have to come up with. You're probably going to have some sort of a fee for a key or an entry card or a fob or whatever. You're going to be responsible for, I don't know all the states, but whatever licensing and permits that you need. I know in New Hampshire, is it just, are you regular licensed now? You used to have to get a separate.
Yeah, now you don't.
So that doesn't apply here in New Hampshire, but in some states that might apply. You used to have a separate license to rent. Any taxes that you're going to incur, that's on you to pay, not the business now. Anything that you're going to need for your business. So say you're upfitting a suite. I don't know what's included in all suites. Some of them are upfitted, some of them aren't. But if they're not, you're going to need a mirror, a chair, maybe a stool. You're going to need lighting, shelving. You're probably going to want some plants. You need a sign. Those are things that are going to cost money. Tools and equipment. You're always responsible for your tools and equipment, but now you're responsible to have everything else that you need too. So if you need a towel warmer, you're responsible for that. Sanitation stuff, you're now responsible for that. Build out. Probably going to need some sort of bins. You're probably going to need a fire extinguisher, first aid kit, eye wash kit. You're going to need whatever, extension cords, hooks, ties, things that you need, right? It's like when you buy a house, you have all this empty space at first because you don't
Comes with
understand that
nothing.
you have to buy paper towels. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not on mom and dad anymore. Your initial inventory. So I know a lot of people skimp here and they're like, well, I'll just get every other color because I can mix it and whatever. And that's fine. You can do you, but you're going to need all your back bar stuff, your color, your developers, bowls, brushes, foils, capes, gloves, towels, any retail that you want to stock. You're probably going to want a website if you're running an actual business. There's a cost there. You've got to purchase the domain. You've got to pay to have the domain protected. It's not a lot of money, but this stuff adds up. Probably you're going to want a logo. Probably not going to be happy with the first logo. You're going to have to tweak that logo. That costs money.
True story.
You probably want, because it's really trendy, to have some sort of branding photography done. That costs money. You're looking at utilities. Sometimes it's baked into the rent, sometimes it's not. But if it's not, you're looking at CAM, stuff like electricity, water, HVAC. You probably need a phone line. Maybe it's included with the business. I don't know how that works, how the phone would be rung, and then I have to go track down, and like I'm running around to a different suite. So I imagine you need a phone. Everyone works from their iPhone, but you should probably have a separate phone line dedicated to your business.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need, you're going to need insurance, right? So you need a professional liability for any sort of malpractice. You mess up someone's hair, they sue you, you're protected. You don't have that, you're not protected. You need some sort of general liability. You need probably a property equipment to protect your tools and stuff. What about business interruption insurance? What if the salon you work at cut some corners with their plumbing and the place floods and you can't work for 3 days? Software. You need booking. You need a way to take payments. You need, if it's not included, you'll need something for confirmations, whether that's text or email. You probably want some sort of email marketing or a CRM. That stuff can add up. That's expensive. You're going to need accounting, bookkeeping, whether it's QuickBooks or whatever. You're going to need some sort of cloud storage. You're going to need some forms, e-doc signs or whatever. All that stuff adds up, right? Then you're paying for all the stuff you said, Jen. So your processing fees, which are just an estimate, it's probably like 3 cents or 3%, and then like a few cents, 10 to 30 cents per transaction, something like that. You've got to work that into your pricing, or else you're just paying out. We mentioned laundry, but what about cleaning? You need all of your wipes, gloves, mops, brooms, disinfectants, EPA. Make sure it's EPA. You need alcohol. If you're playing music publicly, you need to protect yourself. A lot of people don't know that. So you need some sort of music license. Trust me, they will find you and they will come after you at some point. It took them years, but they found my gym and they came after me. So I learned about music licensing and I protected myself. Trash, maybe. So this is going to vary. I have no idea where you're located. If you're in a city, it's probably going to be wildly different than us. At our location, we have to pay for a dumpster. It's not included. So if I was a rental salon, I would have to pass that cost off to the renters, right? If you're in the city, you need to factor in any parking costs that you're going to have to come up with. All of your tax prep, your CPA, any document reviews, that's all professional services you're going to need. You're going to need to factor in, and you would do this I don't even know why I wrote like scissor sharpening, but you would have to do that as a commission employee too, either way. And then education. This is a big one. How are you going to educate yourself? That costs money. Often classes are expensive. Whether they're worth it or not is another whole conversation, but we can do that a different day. But you're probably not accumulating enough rapport with a distributor at a booth rental level to get free education. So you need to
have a fund for that.
Have a fund for that. Rainy day fund, education fund. I still have a whole bunch of stuff, but I think you kind of get the point out there.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot to
it
think
just
about. And the last thing you want to do is be like, I'm going to go do this. And you have no clue. And then you just keep getting hit day after day after day with different things that you didn't think about. And remember, you still have to do hair, which makes hair way less fun when you're getting hit left and right and having to juggle business management while your next client's already here. That's not what you're looking for. The more you set up all of these things before is now where you can go in and just do the hair. It's what we do at Hello we talk about it all the time with our commission employees. Our goal for them is they just come in and get to be creative. They don't have to think about anything else and worry about anything else because we take care of everything and we take care of them. And they see the value in that. You have nobody when you're on your own to take care of you but you. And it can be a lot.
for sure. I have a quick little checklist that I'm going to give for people if you want to be a renter. I'm going to give it to you. It's free.
Okay.
Free 99.
Free.
So I would ask yourself if you have maybe like a quarter. So like we'll say 12 to 16 weeks of expenses saved. You need that's your operating expenses, right? And your rent put together. Why would you want to have that? You need to have operating expenses saved so that you can avoid being the people on Facebook that are like, it's just so slow right now. What do I do? And then offer a bunch of discounts. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Put yourself in a position to be successful from the jump. You're already going to have to deal with all the curveballs that come. Don't let money be one of them. Do not be surprised when you need money to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, I would ask yourself, are you 90 to close to 100% booked with a loyal clientele right now? Next thing, do you have any clue what your products cost per service?
Mm-hmm.
What your back bar percent should look like?
Very important.
If you don't know that, you're going to lose money. You're just guessing. Next one, do I have a pricing plan? Pricing plan needs to factor in price increases, and it needs to factor in profit. So you have to figure that out and have that. If you're going to have a cancellation policy, ask yourself if you're actually going to enforce it or if you're going to be one of the people on Instagram that's just passive aggressive. Okay. Next one. Have you priced out some of these things that you need? Insurance, software, taxes, whatever benefits you want. Are you saving money for retirement? Don't get stuck. Figure that out now. And then, are you able to keep up with the administration stuff? Or can you outsource it? Which one? Can you afford to outsource it if you're 100% booked, loyal clientele, you have 4 months of savings saved up? You can probably afford to hire some people. So don't skip that because it's going to help you down the line. Or you're going to have to do it and it's probably going to be, who knows, how many extra hours per week you're going to work. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to work a lot more hours because you have to figure out what you're doing before you can actually do it. All right. And then the last one that I think is where people are struggling that we talk to most. Do you have some sort of education or plan that gets you back into a community once in a while so that you don't just stagnate?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got for a little checklist.
It was great. Super helpful.
Cool. Yeah, I hope it helps people. Our staff's probably all going to quit now because I just gave them. No, yeah, we can wrap up. We're going a little long, but I don't think that people need to be fearful of rental or commission salons.
I would agree.
I think one way or the other, like if you're in a rental situation and you're just like, commission's awful, screw them, they're the worst. I think you're part of the problem. And if you're in a commission salon or you own a commission salon and you're like, renting is killing the industry, you're part of the problem too. So you guys should get together and just be problems together.
Or find solutions.
For the rest of us that understand that any industry can thrive and that competition is actually a good thing because it forces innovation. Well, we'll be over here being profitable.
Mm-hmm. And running a commission salon where people want to stay because
growing our teams.
They have a vision plan for their future and lots of goals.
We have somebody that owns a suite and she works for us commission part-time.
Yes. We have an employee that rents 1 day a week somewhere. And she's like, I'll never leave here because I could never do what I do here on my own. So yeah, it's
So it can be done, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So our business model proves that it can be done. Okay, cool. Get on our newsletter list if you want to. If you don't, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. And I'm just being funny. And I guess that's it because I got to go.
Okay.
Got
Have
an
a great day.
appointment. All right. Bye, everyone.